Hello, y'all. Co-founder Tickles here. Got a little bit of house cleaning to do before our special first episode of the TMC Podcast, aka the Movie Club. And that first item of business here, I've been getting a lot of questions. How does the Movie Club work? Well, we're going to release episodes every other Monday. So you get an episode focusing on a movie that you guys pick every other Monday. Those polls will open the day after the episode drops. So every other Tuesday, that's when the polls will open. They'll be open Tuesday through Thursday evening. And where can you vote? You can go to the TKOK Podcast Network Facebook group. We'll have polls open there. You could also go to @the_movie_club on Instagram. I'm going to have some polls in the stories, so you can vote there. If you're not on Facebook and on Instagram, and we're going to work on getting polls in some other places as well. But for the time being, that's where you can vote. And the second item of business today is if you're here listening to the TMC podcast, I hope you're listening to Pop Mom's podcast and Concerts That Made Us, two other podcasts in the TKOK Podcast Network. They're putting out new content right now. If you haven't checked them out, get over there, give them a listen, rate, review, subscribe. Goes a long way. And I don't want to keep you from MacGruber any longer. I'm excited for this. I'm really excited for the new music, new podcast, new music. And that new music is brought to you by an old friend Prob Cause. And another old friend is my co-host on this episode and co-founder of the TKOK Podcast Network, Kate Flynn from Pop Mom's Podcast. Prob, take us away. I don't want to wait any longer. Give me some MacGruber.
Who am I? You ask? My name is MacGruber. Remember that name, capital M. A, C, capital G, R, U, B, E.
Welcome to the first episode of TMC Podcast. That is the Movie Club. This is a movie club. It's like a book club, but with movies. And today I am joined with co-founder and host of Pop Mom's Podcast, Kate Flynn. Kate,
Hi guys.
say hey.
How's it going?
Yeah, we are excited. Today we are talking about a movie near and dear to my heart. And this movie club, it started over the pandemic with myself and Kate's wonderful husband, Michael, and a couple of our other buddies. And we would just pick a movie, we'd all watch it and then get together and talk about it. So we're hoping that this is something that you have as much fun with it as we did. And Kate, I know you had a lot of fun.
I had a ton of fun. I secretly was the unofficial member of your guys' movie club, only by forcing myself into it. Again,
a very valuable addition to the club, though. Very valuable.
Thank you, Tommy. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I love movies. I just don't have a strong preference in terms of what we watch. So what I really liked is, you guys picked movies that kind of how we're going to pick movies, right? Some of them that we've seen, some of them we haven't seen, some of them we haven't heard of, some of them we wish we hadn't seen. It was really cool. And I really liked the concept because then, afterwards you guys got together and talked about the parts that you liked. And, it was a little bro date for you guys. So I'm excited to share that with more people because I think that a lot of people resonate with, the comfort of watching movies. And especially in times like this, there's a need for it. And there's a need to be able to connect with people across, areas you don't see very often. So
that's right. And we are going to talk about some serious movies here in Movie Club. We picked a pretty silly one. I think that, sometimes it's just fun, to get together and talk about something that's immature and idiotic and laugh with your buddies. And this movie certainly provided plenty of those moments. MacGruber was released in 2010, starring Will Forte, Ryan Phillippe, Kristen Wiig, and Val Kilmer. This was Jorma Taccone's first time directing a film and nominated, maybe unsurprisingly, for 0 Golden Globes.
You couldn't tell. No, I'm just kidding. It actually did have a good flow for that, right?
Yeah. Well, and it wasn't nominated for any awards. Surprisingly, only a 35% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes and only 5.6 out of 10 stars on IMDb. I don't know exactly how I would rate this movie for streamability. It was available on Amazon, but nowhere else. So accessible, but not, I would say totally accessible. And it is the tale of an Army Ranger, Green Beret, Navy SEAL, grieving widower who's, these are all characteristics rolled into one, alpha male MacGruber, and he is lured out of his newfound life of peace in Ecuador 10 years after the murder of his wife at their wedding.
Brutal way to go.
Yeah. When supervillain Dieter von Cunth steals a nuclear warhead. So that's the plot of the movie. And, like I said, the movie is a lot of things. It's depraved, immature, warped, at times idiotic, but it's also an immensely entertaining movie. At least that's my opinion. We're going to see what Kate thought here in a second.
And it's Cunth, right? It's not, no, it's Cunth. I mean, it's really like Cunth. It's very close to the word that they were avoiding. Like, it's not even like Cunth. Like, Cunth sounds like, they put some thought. No, it's Cunth.
Yeah, it's Cunth. And MacGruber loves saying Cunth. So, we're going to get into the overall movie, but, I just kind of ran down, this movie was not critically acclaimed, no awards, but recently, as I was doing some research for some of my favorite movies of the last 10 years, I found an article by Collider that listed it as the #1 comedy of the last 10 years, which kind of was a big catalyst for us picking this movie, on top of the fact that it's a favorite in our friend circle. So, Kate, was that surprising to you to see that this movie was ranked #1 out of all comedies of the last 10 years?
Thanks for asking, Tommy. Yeah, I was incredibly shocked that this was the #1 movie in the last 10 years. But not because it isn't a good movie, but because I had to go back and think of all of the good movies over the last 10 years,
Yeah.
And I will say it aged better than I thought it would.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes going back, watching old Saved by the Bell episodes, for example,
Oh,
or
for sure.
other Zach Morris is trash.
Yeah.
Just seeing how things were even within the last 10 years, I think this aged decent, and I think it's cool when a comedy can do that, because it can't always. So, I mean, taking that into consideration, I don't know Collider's, movie or reader base. So I don't know if it would be it would make sense to be, the #1 comedy over that. But I know I don't feel like it's the best comedy off the top of my head, and being really bad with conception of dates, what 10 years ago was and when the movies were being released there. I don't think I could pick another one.
For sure.
But I mean, I think it's good. I think it's just a funny movie. When Mike and I pick what shows we're going to watch at night, it's kind of reflective of how the state of the world is. And so we kind of go for a very dumbed down, to take the serious edge off. I just need things that I'm not going to have to think about a ton. And if I miss part of it, I can just catch up exactly where it is. So Bob's Burgers or something like that. But this was this was it, that was it was a good, anyone can watch it and just, go to bed feeling totally fine after.
Totally. Yeah. And I want to stop short of calling it a guilty pleasure type movie, but I'm sure some people would call it that. There's something comforting about a movie like this, right? Where, you're not going to walk out of it feeling dumb, like maybe you missed something, or, you're not understanding it. You can just go and watch a movie and enjoy it for face value. So I mean, I think
it's not life-changing, but
Totally.
It'll pass a day.
It sure made me laugh out loud a number of times.
Yep.
Going back to this Collider list, were there any movies you remember that were just stood out as I can't believe that these weren't included?
I mean, I'll go ahead and default back to the whole I'm really bad with names and years movies were released. So I mean, what stood out the most to you?
So
And
I
can
guess
kind of give commentary on that.
no, I think for me, I love these sort of thought exercises, going back and kind of reviewing, every 10 years, that decade's movies, albums, all that sort of stuff. I kind of taking a second to catalog. Catalog is probably the better word, to catalog kind of everything. And it's just a nice reflection. So for me, the biggest thing that stood out was there were a lot of movies that immediately jumped to mind where I was I can't believe this movie's not on there, or I can't believe this, whether it be Zoolander or...
Zoolander's not 10 years old, though.
Well, that's the thing. And that was one of the things. I was surprised by how many movies I was thinking had happened in the last 10 years, but have really,
so long
it's
ago.
the last 20 years.
Good news, Tommy. We're old.
Yeah.
We've arrived.
Yeah. So that Collider list, A, made me feel old. B, there were a couple movies that I thought were left off. I mean, there were a lot of movies on there that, quite honestly, I just hadn't seen, kind of smaller, artsy, indie type comedy movies. But the ones that I thought were lacking were The Interview with Seth Rogen and James Franco. I thought that movie was very hilarious. One of the movies the last 10 years, I just remember laughing out loud a lot. Probably just low expectation type deal. The most recent Borat movie I thought could have been on this
Super
list.
funny.
Super funny. And then for me, and I know this is one where me and your husband have differing opinions on this film, but Jojo Rabbit I thought could have also been on here. Taika Waititi, the director, is represented in 2 other films, so that would have given him 3 films in the last 10 years in that top 20. But so for me, those are the ones that I guess kind of stood out as missing. The other thing that came up, this was an overall discussion, is that list for some people kind of felt that it was weaker compared to other decades. And one of the talking points was, what is that a reflection of? Why does this list seem not as strong as, the list from 2000 to 2010 or 90 to 2000? And one person brought up cancel culture and was wondering if that's it.
I totally agree. I was going to say it's not even the cancel culture. It's just you can't just put out a rude, funny movie anymore. You know what I mean? You have to you have to do it in a tactful way. And I don't think that a lot of directors have not the experience, but they don't have they
haven't evolved to that. They haven't adapted.
Well, totally. They haven't had to think about it. Right. So it's a muscle they're not using. So, I mean, to me, that was to be able to execute a movie that has touchy subjects on it and still have
not be totally offensive.
Exactly. Well, yeah, totally.
Well, and it kind of reminds me of the Todd Phillips type movie. He was the director of Old School and a bunch of those films. I'm blanking on some of the other ones for some reason right now. But then he came out and he directed The Joker, and in large part he said that was a response to cancel culture or whatever. I tend to think, I'm sure cancel culture plays into it. I think people have had to make smarter comedies, and that list may be a reflection of that. But I also think probably the biggest thing that's affected it is television, where now there's, really the best star, all the big stars, they're going in and making TV shows, they're making these series. And I think TV has kind of replaced movies in a lot of ways, as far as where you're getting the best content is typically a show versus a movie. So
totally, because you can have it be more that what you want it, right?
Yes.
And think about how things were released. A movie's a one-time release. A show, it stays top of mind, and you hit it, once a week, even if it's something where it's released, in a 4-part series. You have those 4 parts, and you come back to it, and it's there's just so much more interaction with it than there is just with a one-time movie.
Yeah, you get 10 hours, assuming you're going to do 10 episodes, arc versus 2.5 hours, and then, like you said, you also get multiple seasons, so you get multiple stabs at it. So yeah, I mean, I think all those things are in play for, and I would argue that it would be interesting to go back 10 years from now. Maybe some of these movies I haven't seen, I'm more familiar with. How movies become cult classics. Big Lebowski wasn't super popular when it first came out. Now look at this popularity.
No, oh my God, Office Space. I remember when Office Space came out, and then I saw it in high school, and I was like, what the fuck? I'm how would I have missed this? And it's oh no, I remember seeing Office Space at the marquee at the, overpriced cinema that used to be, at the corner of, what was it? Highway 100 in Oklahoma. Whew, take me back.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember it, and I'm oh yeah. And then I'm wait, wasn't that released a lot? And that was I guess that was actually the first movie where I was not cult classic, but when it had a cult following afterwards, it didn't have a huge release at
the box office.
I was box was buy box. My work is getting in my head. So that was the first one where I was oh my God, movies have cult followings, and then understanding that. So I feel this is sort of one like that.
For sure. I mean, yeah, it's I think I don't think it wasn't super popular, like we've said, by the audience and critic scores that we've seen out there. But yeah, I think it's one of those that it's in certain circles of friends, it's probably super popular, very quoted. And I have a question about quotes coming from one of our viewers later. I'll jump to the next question. What were some of your favorite scenes in this movie?
Well, okay, so talking about cult classics, right? I feel another cult classic, however you want to, I think it did fairly well in the box office, but then just has repeatedly come up in like mainstream culture is Zoolander. And I think
Oh,
that
yeah.
there's some like really good parallels between the different scenes. And I know that like one of my favorite things is comparing one of the scenes that happened in MacGruber to
Yeah.
one of the scenes that happened in Zoolander, and
Let's
then
do it.
seeing like which one would you prefer? Like what's the pros and cons? What do you like about it? So I'm going to set it up for you.
Yeah.
So there's a scene in Zoolander, which I know that you're intimately familiar with, where they have a
Oh, yeah.
gasoline fight, right?
Yes.
To George Michael,
Wake
wake me up before you go.
Yes.
And so that's the one, very, very tragic, but
Yes.
very, very preventable death scene that really affects the main character. And in MacGruber, he painstakingly puts together by hand a bunch of C4. He gets all his buddies together. It's almost like a half-hour scene of like getting all of these guys together. Like it's going to be a very big part of the future of the movie. And then as he's, going to go ahead and basically tell Ryan Flippy to shove it, they blow up.
Because the trunk is filled with over 75 pounds of homemade C4 explosive that I personally packed in there with my own two. Oh, fuck! No. Todd, you guys okay? Oh, somebody's gotta be in there. Oh, call 911! Call 911!
So what's the better death scene in your opinion?
So yeah, I went back and forth on this one a little bit. Ultimately, I give the nod to Zoolander, only because it's so hilariously, as you said, avoidable and so outrageous. Like the idea of and it's a play. For people who haven't seen Zoolander, Zoolander is a male model. What happens is he goes to the gas station with his male model friends, and it's just like they're making fun of the trope that models aren't very intelligent, right? So here's these really attractive male models, and they're spraying each other with gas and having a gasoline fight, and of course, inevitably they die. And Derek Zoolander has the very famous quote at the Ugoogly, anyone can die in a freak gasoline fight accident, and that scene is just great. But this MacGruber scene, it harkened back to it in a really great callback way. I would be interested to see if that was an intentional kind of callback. I
Well,
would,
because one you saw coming, like you knew that something bad was going to happen with the gasoline, because you're like, holy shit, wait, that's gasoline.
sure.
Like, oh my God. And then what? Yeah, I'm like, oh my God, male smokers. Totally. Like, I get it. I feel like the first time that I saw MacGruber, because like this wasn't the first time I saw MacGruber,
Yeah.
I remember it happening. I was just like, you're just like, holy what? And then you're like, they can't survive that, but
And
they don't.
And there's even a further parallel too, right? Because I just mentioned in Zoolander, Derek Zoolander gives a great eulogy at the for the funeral of his friends, and then right after the explosion in MacGruber, they cut to MacGruber in the colonel's office, and he's asking about the eulogy.
What did you think of my eulogies?
Very touching. I might have cut back on the F words a little.
Well, they were fucking great guys. And this is a fucking asshole of a day.
I know. It's just that their kids were there
They left.
because
So they have the parallel there between
Yep.
the eulogies too. I think there's a lot. You hit the nail on the head. There are a lot of parallels between these two movies, and I think it's great. You have the over the top villain too with Mugatu and Dieter von Cunth. You have the idiotic yet super effective kind of heroes in MacGruber and Derek. So yeah. Total great connection to make there. So then that would be one of your favorite scenes is the blow up of the friends.
Yeah. I mean, I also love like anything with Vicky St. Elmo in it, because like her like demure nature and just like the way that, she's just like, what? And like, I think like also one of my favorite scenes in it too, and I think like this really should get a nod to like Kristen Wiig and her abilities, is like when MacGruber suggests that she's the decoy, which kind of plays a scene in the rest of the movie, right?
Oh, yeah,
Where like
yes.
she has to dress up as him. And I mean, she's taller than him. So like,
Yeah.
it's not even a good fit from the get-go. Like Ryan Phillippe could have done that just as easily. And
For
so the
sure.
fact that it was Kristen Wiig, Vicky St. Elmo, and the way that she she carries herself in it is just like, it's phenomenal. In addition to all of her pantsuits, I'm in love with her pantsuits. I want to go back there and wear them all.
Yeah, this is going to be a little bit of a Kristen Wiig stan episode, I feel like, because yeah, we're huge on her performance in this.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Why don't we go ahead and take a quick break, and we can go ahead and get that question from the listener, so we can go ahead and read that.
This episode of the TMC Podcast brought to you by Pop Moms Podcast. New episodes airing now. The Pop Moms Podcast debunks the myth that moms and dads who smoke weed are bad parents. Pop Moms Podcast. This episode is also brought to you by Concerts That Made Us, a podcast where guests come on and relive their entire concert lives, the good, the bad, and the funny. Don't miss Concerts That Made Us. Back to TMC. I'm glad you actually brought it up, Kate, the questions. This is a good place to set a reminder to any listeners. If you have questions about the movies that we pick, you can always, we'll have threads dedicated to those at some point, on the TKOK Facebook group. But you can also email us at tkokpodcastnetwork@gmail.com. This week, our first question comes from an anonymous, and it is, to Tommy and Kate, have you ever MacGrubered your way out of a situation?
Yeah, like all the time. I'm like a mom version of MacGruber.
Right.
Like
whether it be a broken toy
or like forgetting something, or like making multiple use of diapers, or like if I didn't have a diaper. Yeah, I'm like the person who like collects paper clips for like that one time it's gonna like get you out of a jam. I'm like now just putting this together like literally in real time, that I'm like just a mom version of MacGruber, like a less disgusting version.
We made a connection about connecting how alike MacGruber and your husband were. MacGruber has a tendency to upper deck people, your husband, and it's one of his favorite moves. He likes a good throat rip. Mike likes a good throat rip. They had the removable CD faces. Mike has a great story. Tape deck, removable tape deck as well. So yeah, there are quite a few similarities there, and now maybe we're learning a little bit about why you guys work so well. You guys are just you guys are two MacGrubers in the same pod.
We're almost like one half of the same MacGruber, though. That's
a beautiful way to put it. You guys make each other whole. You guys together. You make a whole MacGruber.
Together we're one MacGruber.
and I do want to point out, that Mike's one of Mike's favorite things was just the interaction between Philippi and MacGruber. He really loved just how as an agitator MacGruber was, and just really never warmed up to him until the very end.
How's your nose, rookie?
It's fine. I just banged it into a giant vagina.
So my face is a vagina, huh? Well, I bet you wish your nose was a dick, so you could use it to fuck butts. I forget. The last time I saw you, did I remember to tell you how ugly I think you are?
No, you didn't.
Well, I think you're really ugly.
Well, I think you're looking in the mirror.
You want to go?
Anytime, any place.
Starting to like this guy. Just kidding. I still hate you.
Well, I hate you.
You want to go?
Hey, guys.
From a MacGruber standpoint, I know I have, and I'm really mad at myself because I probably have some really great examples of this. We came from a family that didn't have a lot. My dad was kind of like a white trash MacGruber a little bit, where if something broke, he found these ways to put things back together that maybe were very
He's like half Val Kilmer and half MacGruber, though.
Oh yeah, he really is. I mean, he's more Val Kilmer than MacGruber, but in his realm of like fixing stuff, for sure. I find, and I like to think of myself as very resourceful. So yeah, I do think that I've MacGrubered my way out of some situations. I definitely know I've gotten in and out of some houses using some MacGruber-esque tactics. 100% having locked myself out once or twice.
Recently happened. That actually happened before we were watching a different movie for this show.
That's right.
Where Mike had to literally MacGruber his way into our house. So much so that the kids now just ask for it. Like, are we going to lock ourselves out? Can we climb through the window again? We're just no.
Yeah, they want to see Dad be a cat burglar.
Yeah, pretty much. It was amazing, though. A feat of strength and grandeur, nonetheless.
Yeah. So listener who sent that email in, thank you, and I hope those answers sufficed. And
if they don't, email us and yell at us.
Yeah.
Give us
sure.
feedback. We love it.
We do love it. We do love it. We have one other question from a listener, and it was Fuck, marry, kill. MacGruber, Dixon Piper, who is the Ryan Phillippe character, or Dieter von Cunth. I'll start this one off, Kate. I'm gonna. So we see MacGruber have sex in this. I don't want any piece of that. Something tells me Dieter von Cunth is a very giving lover. So I'm gonna.
Really, I picture him like a jackrabbit.
Oh, see, I bet you he's just very like he likes to give. He's a giver. So I'm gonna go with Dieter von Cunth.
For fuck?
Yeah, sorry, yeah, for fuck. I'm obsessed with that. I'm just having sex with Dieter von Cunth.
Totally.
I'm gonna marry.
It's mind encompassing.
Yeah, I'm gonna marry Dixon Piper, and I'm gonna kill MacGruber.
Okay. Ugh, I don't even know how I differentiate off of that. I think I'm gonna marry Val Kilmer because I can tame it. I would. I mean, I guess fuck Ryan Phillippe, but can I do like Cruel Intentions, Ryan Phillippe? Like, can I have my choice of it, or does it have to be?
I mean, I don't think he's that far off. I was getting some Ryan Phillippe, some.
He's not, but it's I don't know. It's a difference of knowing everything that went down with Reese Witherspoon for me.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. I'll let that slide. Yeah, you can have Cruel Intentions.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
So I think I would also kill MacGruber, but
Sorry,
like.
Grooves.
Yeah, is he the guy who is in The Last Man on the World or on Earth?
Yeah.
He's the same guy. Okay, definitely kill.
Yeah.
Because
Is the Last Man
I
Standing?
liked that show, but I just hate his characters. I
There you
hate
go.
him.
Sorry,
They're like
Will.
Michael Scott for me. And
Yeah.
again, in the beginning, the first season and a half, totally chill. But once you get into multiple seasons of it, I can't.
We're both killing MacGrubes, and
They're swapping partners.
we're swapping partners. So I guess.
Oh wait, okay. So we have the listener questions, right?
Yeah,
Thank you
that's-
guys for sending stuff in. This is like really fun because
Yeah.
there's like more questions that we don't have to think of.
For sure. Yes.
And not
you.
in a bad way. I know we like to hear certain things, and we try to think about that from a viewer's perspective. But the viewer participation is super key, just in making sure that we're answering and we're talking about the things that you want to. So thank you.
For sure. Yeah. And
Go ahead.
no, I was gonna say, and also thank you for all of the participation on the TKOK group page. That's also been a lot of fun this past week.
Yeah, it's been super fun. So I know that we heard about my favorite scenes, Tommy, but what were yours?
So I think there's a big stretch, right? And it starts off. You kind of started talking about it, starting with Vicky St. Elmo dressing as MacGruber. That whole scene is amazing. Kristen Wiig's facial expressions.
Very worried.
MacGruber telling her, you look pretty, when she's dressed as him. That whole scene extended to the shootout with her in the coffee shop. Then there's the botched exchange where she's in another disguise and Ryan Phillippe is now disguised as MacGruber with the celery trick. That whole stretch from that scene to when the bad guys get away with the codes and the money. That's one of the best scenes in the whole, the best stretches in the whole movie. I would say that's all rewatchable. If I'm flipping channels and I happen to catch MacGruber on that, well, if I catch MacGruber in general, I'm probably sticking on it for a while.
Totally.
But specifically on that scene, I'm definitely staying.
Can we talk about this, please?
Well, there's nothing to talk about. Everybody knows that rats like cheese, and you, Vicky, are the cheese.
But you're the one he wants to come after. Why can't you be dressed like you?
Because you are.
I have to say I have some serious concerns about this operation.
You'll get close to her. Possibly dangerously close, and of course in this line of business, anything can happen. But I know that Vicky can take care of herself.
Are you sure this is gonna work?
Don't worry. When you turn around at gunpoint and they see that it's not me, oh, they are gonna be so furious. They're not gonna know what to do. And that's when we got him.
What?
You just look really pretty. Okay, don't worry, we got your back. We're only 7 blocks away, so if anything goes down...
7 blocks?
Okay, you got me, about 20 blocks. But if anything goes down, we'll be right there.
Wasn't anything closer?
Nope.
There were tons of spots close.
Yeah, with meters.
Fine. Look, I don't think I should be talking to you anymore because people are going to be staring at me and thinking that I'm talking to myself, and I don't want to attract attention. And I'm at the counter, so just gonna order now.
Can I help you?
Can I have a small latte?
No. MacGruber would never order that. I'm all about the large Tazo tea.
I'm sorry. Sorry, can I change that? Can I get a large Tazo tea?
Sure. Anything else?
No!
No!
Can I get your name?
I'll let you take this one, Vic.
MacGruber.
Good job.
Give me 345.
Yes, it is. It's what it is every time. Look at it.
No, Vic, no tip. What are you doing? Get that tip back.
I have to. Sorry.
Don't say you're not sorry.
I'm not sorry. I mean, I'm sorry. As in me, I'm sorry.
Wow.
Okay, now before we do this, any questions?
Why do I have to be Hoss?
Because you're good at what you do.
And why do I have to be you?
First of all, you will never be me. And second of all, I forget your question.
Outside of that, I thought, I don't know why it's such a small thing, but when Philippi finds MacGruber's journal, and it's the KFBR 392 journal, that was just, it's something small. In doing research for this episode, I learned that all of those drawings and all of those scribblings were actually Will Forte's. Between takes, he was like working on that. So the drawings of him, MacGruber pooping in the guy's mouth and all that shit, that's actually Will Forte's drawings.
It shows. I thought maybe it was like, maybe his younger nephew or something.
Yeah,
but
that's
yeah,
actually Will Forte. His actual writing. Also, maybe a little throwback to The Shining there.
I was just gonna say.
Yeah, so that was just another. I just love that scene. There's a throwaway line in this movie that is probably my favorite quote, and it's towards the end, and MacGruber kind of he rips out someone's throat, and then they set up a trap for the guys that are going to come into the room afterwards, and he's very proud of himself, and he's like, "Pretty good idea, huh?" And Philippi responds, "Well, which part? The desecration of the corpse or the water ambush?" I love that. And just MacGruber, the diffusing the nuke scene, because it's just such a great, parody of the actual MacGrubers, where he's got to pick the wire, and then it's just 1,000 fucking wires, and he just has no clue. Those all made the list for my favorite scenes. So we're talking a lot about MacGruber here, but I want to talk a little bit. I think we're going to talk about the same person. Our MVP of this movie, and for me, it was very much Kristen Wiig. As we've kind of alluded to here. That's, no joke.
She's a boss.
Yeah, I'm not.
She stole the show.
She really did. That stretch that I was talking about earlier. It's just like a master class in comedic acting, physical, subtle. She is so phenomenal. They're probably what I think is maybe the worst scene in the movie, which is the sex scene. She makes watchable. Which, again, another little tidbit of information. We're just going to keep doling out these little nuggets. That sex scene was filmed on Kristen Wiig's birthday. And if you're watching really carefully, and I was researching this because I thought there might be something to this. You see her turn her head to the side. And I thought that might be because she was laughing and had to turn away from breaking character. But it was actually because Will Forte's sweat was dripping on her face.
Oh, that's so disgusting.
So disgusting.
I thought it was like a bad breath thing. So I was kind of in that same world. I'm like, what's the catch here?
Yeah, same world. But for all those reasons, it just, she was in I believe in the same year or a year later, she's in Bridesmaids, which was number 3 on the Collider list. Yeah. So what a decade for her to be on the number 1 and number 3.
Female comedic, I like too is a lot of the female comedies that I like are just they're not afraid to totally be a funny female. You know, she's really I don't care if this is embarrassing. I
don't have to be hot. Even though she's hot, I think she's totally hot.
Yeah, totally.
When they go to the party and she's it's the Eddie Money song and he lays eyes on her in that white pantsuit. She's hot, So
pantsuit.
Yeah, you can.
My mom's the OG pantsuit rocker, I think.
Oh yes.
Or at least pantsuit pants.
Patty's Facebook profile is
Dude,
pretty smoking.
Right?
It's pretty smoking.
I really hope I age as well as she does.
I was I did a double take. I was like, whoa, who? Oh, it's Kate's mom. Never mind.
Yeah, it's my mom. Hey,
Total
mom.
babe. Shout out to Patty. So would you agree?
I would totally agree.
Yeah, I don't think there's any way to go around it. She really, really steals this. one of the last things we're going to talk about is, so MacGruber, if, for those who may not know, is originated as an SNL skit. So it got me thinking, is there, first of all, let's answer this question. Is there a better SNL skit made into a movie than Wayne's World? I think that would be the
we
prohibitive.
can't.
Yeah. I mean, hot take. I think I might prefer MacGruber, and now if we put Wayne's World 2 into this equation, it gets a little harder for me. Because Wayne's World 2 I actually like more than Wayne's World. But if we're just talking Wayne's World 1, I might put Ladies Man and MacGruber ahead of it. It's really close.
Ladies Man's so good.
It's so narrow, but I mean, at the same time, it's I totally get it. They're stupid, immature comedies, right? But there's something to be, like I said, I've already said it before. There is something to be said for those. So for you, it's Wayne's World. For me, I'm going to go ahead and just for the sake of being contrarian, I'm going to say that those two movies just edge Wayne's World, the original Wayne's World out. And maybe if we're talking about Wayne's World 2, I would have to put that number 1. But discussion for another day.
Yes.
Let's move on to SNL skits or characters that haven't been made into a feature film that we may want to see. This was one of the questions on the group. I thought we got some great answers. Pop Mom's podcast I saw had Toots the Driving Cat, which might for me be a huge oversight when I was making my own list. Were there any other ones that came to your head?
Yes. Okay. Brian Fellows, Safari Planet.
Yes. That was another.
Brian Fellows, Safari Planet. Brian Fellows. My favorite one is the bird.
That bird better pray he don't screw up my credit. What are you talking about? I'm gonna just go get a BB gun and shoot that bird's eyes out.
So good. It's so good.
No, so those are great answers. Yeah, I mean, I think there's so many. Another one that I thought of kind of in retrospect was Hans and Franz. I think that there could be a really great Hans and Franz skit out there. There's the Mike Myers character, Simon, who makes drawings in his bathtub.
I
think that one could probably also be a standalone. But the one I want to see most, and I don't even think he's underrated at this point. I think he's reaching the point where he's properly rated. But Bill Hader, one of my all-time favorite SNL cast members, and he does a number of great characters, and I'm sure people would jump at saying Stefan is the one, but I love his James Carville, and he would make a kind of this reoccurring joke about his best friend being an Alligator Joe.
Pretty soon I'll be back in Louisiana drinking sweet tea on the porch with my high school buddy, Alligator Joe.
And in one of the skits, him and Alligator Joe were essentially catfishing members of Congress, and then like killing them basically. So give me that movie. Give me James Carville and a best friend Alligator who are in some sort of seductive erotic thriller with some political leanings and make that
it's inspirational, really.
Yeah, I want it. Give it to me. It sounds crazy, but I do want it.
I want it's not a skit. I mean, it's not a short by any means. But I love Colin Jost and Michael Che. Like, I want to see Weekend Update, but then like I want it to be like a story. You know what I mean?
They're news anchors. They're big news anchors.
Like something like that. Because I think that could be really cool. Because I like their dynamic a lot.
That could be real. Yeah, like a buddy news anchor, kind of like spoof on CNN or Fox News. Or even you could do something like that where they're like rival anchors on one of the, you have the left wing.
Right, and then they come together to do Weekend Update.
That could be really good.
You heard it here first.
No, we have some great ideas. You know what, Kate? We got another question just now.
Wow, that's amazing.
It is.
This and time appropriate.
Yeah, I know. So, and this will be our last question, and then we'll let you guys go. But this person wants to know: MacGruber seems like a bro comedy. How come guys like quoting movies so much?
Oh my god! I'm sorry. Whoever that person is, that's like the question that like that answer holds so many other answers. Like that's
it's like a psychological. It's a riddle wrapped inside of an enigma.
Exactly. It holds so many more. it holds so many more answers than just answering that at face value. I don't know, but I love like one of my favorite things is like when Mike and you guys get together in person and you guys go back and forth on a lot of like your quotes, like that just like cracks me up as much as like the movie itself.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's fun for a lot of us. I don't know, it's one of those things. I when I read the question just a second ago, my gut reaction is, I'm going to turn it to our audience, and really, if you're listening, I want to hear about this, because is it a gender thing? I know in our group of guy friends, we do it a lot, but, I'm thinking of just in our group, the TKOK group, there was a female member who asked about their favorite movie quotes. And I bet you if we go through it, there was a lot of females who participated in that. So, I don't know, maybe it's just kind of, it depends on the group. Maybe I like to think that there are these groups of girls out there who are, friends and quoting movies all the time, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it is a gender thing. Let us know if that's a accurate gender stereotype. Do guys quote movies more than girls? We'd love to hear from you about that. Kate, any last little bits of input from you on MacGruber?
We covered so much. I mean, it's hard to go ahead and expand on that. I would say keep up the pantsuits. I don't know. And just, I need to get an electric keyboard with those really dreamy curtains that can provide that type of lighting for when I want to channel my inner Vicky St. Elmo.
Awesome. Thank you very much. This has been a pleasure. This is the Movie Club. We will see you next week. Over and out.
Bye.
Bye.